Chapter 16, Correspondence Course. In 1973, as I looked forward to my discharge from the Army, I was scared by my few career prospects. Although I had earned a degree in mathematics 3 years earlier, I was not able to calculate an integral function, work a Fourier transform, or even derive the quadratic equation. I lost it because I had not worked a single math problem or even thought about math for 3 years. Although I had several promising interviews before I joined the Army, I had no hope of renewing those connections 3 years later. When I had been interviewing back in 1969, I was pretty sure I could have landed an entry-level job with a Ford Motor Company. The interview with their company had gone so well. Maybe I would have worked on the new Mustang sports car the interviewer was so excited about. But now all those hard-earned math skills were useless. Besides, I wanted to be a musician, not a mathematician. I wondered, what could I do? How could I develop a career in music? What kind of jobs were available? Mr. Jones, our classy CO, invited me to his tidy, well-furnished home for dinner with his young wife. "You can be a real professional musician if you stay with the Army Band," he implored. "We are really putting together some exciting music together. I'd really like to see you re-enlist." He was right. Under his leadership, the stage band kicked ass. He was the inspiring director I longed for, and his kind of music was my kind of music. But the concept of re-upping was unthinkable. I had spent my last 2 years mocking everything about the Army. The thought of re-enlisting made my stomach turn over. Kay would never consider a life as a military wife. Absolutely, completely unthinkable. I think I must have seen an advertisement for a correspondence course in piano tuning in Downbeat magazine. I began to imagine what it would be like to work with my hands like that. The joy of being able to bring a piano into its pure essence of in-tuneness. I fantasized about how much the piano owners would appreciate my skill in restoring their sour-sounding instruments to sweet concert readiness. Fortunately, we had a piano in our living room that I could work on to practice my tuning. It was actually Kay's piano. Kay had the spinet piano that her parents had given her as a girl when she was studying piano many years earlier. There was a dark emotional cloud over that little spinet piano for Kay that I would come to learn over the coming years. Kay was not thrilled to give up her precious piano for my educational purposes, but gave in the end. So I sent away for my starter kit of piano tuning tools and the lessons. The kit contained a tuning hammer and a tuning fork, just as I had expected, but most of the other tools were very foreign to me. I just stood and stared at the long felt strip, the pointy felt pick, the metal bender, the many felt wedges, and dozens of sizes of little paper washers. One of the devices looked like deformed pliers that were designed to torture the piano somehow. This was a strange new world for me. I was learning piano repair right along with piano tuning. Kay nearly had a fit the first time I took her piano apart. When she came home from shopping, the top cover was held precariously open with a wedge, and I had scattered several sizable pieces of that little Everett piano around the living room. There were a number of smaller ones on the piano bench beside me. The dust cover was on the couch. The piano action was on the floor, and at first glance it looked like a tornado had blown her piano to smithereens. "You had better be able to put that back together," I heard Kay snarl. In my first couple of weeks of study, I made the tuning of that poor little piano worse and worse each day. After my first day of tuning, it sounded like a dance hall piano. For the second, a noisy bar piano. By the third day, it was downright painful to hear. Kay was fuming. After 6 months of study, I finally became an adequate piano tuner. Just adequate. Kay really wanted to finish her college degree. She had left college after her junior year to marry me. She had reminded me of that sacrifice many times. So in July of 1973, when I was honorably discharged from the Army, we moved to Buchanan, West Virginia, to a tiny little house. Kay got ready to finish her senior year at West Virginia Wesleyan College, and I became an apprentice piano tuner / repairman at Clarksburg Music Company.